Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks at Ungainly Titan. And I think this week and next week are going to be a little World of Tanks heavy, heavier than usual. I'm probably going to have World of Tanks on Tuesday nights as well, or Tuesdays as well, because I just, a lot happened with my World of Tanks career over the last 2 weeks, and what I want to share with you. So, first of all, a lot of new tanks is essentially the thing. I did the needle contract. I'm not sufficiently enamoured of the rest of the contract system to go to the bother, I think, of doing the rest of the contracts. I think your mileage might vary. They're probably well, if you've nothing else to be doing, you're not really grinding, and you've managed to grind out all the lines that you want to grind out, and you have lots of tanks in your garage, then they're actually pretty good, because or if you have only a couple of lines left to grind, because quite frequently you could find yourself being able to use tanks that you'd be grinding anyway. So you're double dipping the XP. You're getting XP for grinding, and you're getting the rewards for the needle contract, which can be substantial enough. Pardon me, that should be from the mercenary contract in general. But the other thing is that I said was that I wanted to just talk about some of the tanks that I bought. So one of the tanks that I bought because of the mercenary contract directly was the Panzer II Luchs. You're watching a recent game in it in White Park, and that's the usual kind of White Park thing. Works quite well as a scout, both either as a passive or an active scout. It can take the odd punch and still keep moving, and it's quite a dangerous machine in any configuration right through. Now, I haven't ground through it. I got it for the needle contract. I had over 100,000 free XP at the time from the premium grinding that I'd been doing earlier on for silver, which I may have to get back to because my 13.5 million silver has now gone down to about 6.5 million, which is not enough to play a lot of tier 10, tier 9 games. But we'll get back to that. What was it spent on? Well, partly on equipment and buying tanks, and partly just running the Death Star through the period where I was playing the Death Star for the needle contract. So you can see here it's a pretty lethal machine, especially with friends. If you go in on top of somebody that's already been engaged by other tanks, that is where it is that's most lethal and it's most effective. The clip isn't enough to take down a tank from full health to nothing. Just can't do it. And when you go in, you have to know exactly where it is that how you're coming out, because you have to be fairly ruthless about it. You can't hang around. You certainly can't afford to hang around reloading the clip. You got to keep driving and get out of there, because it takes quite a while to reload the clip. Now, I don't have a particularly skilled crew. I took a crew that I had been training up in the Germans, that I'd been thinking of training as a kind of a heavy tank crew, because I was thinking of them as maybe the permanent crew that I would put on the Tiger, because I planned to keep it. So this was a crew that had, at the time of transferring to the Luchs, they had Mentor and Repair. And I had just started training them on 6th Sense. So I transferred them to the Luchs. I trained them up to to complete the tank mastery. And I put them on the Luchs, and so I didn't have 6th Sense, which makes scouting, as you can imagine, a little bit more difficult. Now, as a scout, you don't fire from, well, you can fire from cover, but the targets need to be close. And generally, if you fire from cover when the targets are close, you'll get detected. That gun opens up your detection range massively. So generally, your best bet when you're firing this gun is to try and fire targets that are distracted. So it's very good in the late game for low health targets. You come in, preferably ones that are engaged with an ally, and you just drive around from an unexpected direction, come around them, dump a clip into them, and off you go. Because you need to get into cover again before you can reload. If you can possibly manage at all, you want to avoid reloading your clip while you're visible and in the open. You want to get into cover for the reloading. Now, there is a 5cm gun that is more conventional, and that would, I think, allow you to play the tank as a more conventional light tank. I haven't tried it. Well, I have tried it. I've had a couple of games of it. But I really like to play it consistently with that gun, just to see how it plays and whether it's a viable option. I think it might be. However, I think, like a lot of Tier 4 tanks, the detection range exceeds the view range. It's common enough in the lower tiers. So to get the detection range below the view range, you're going to have to invest in crew skills. So you need recon. Situational awareness will extend the view range, both of them, by varying degrees. Also, camouflage will reduce the detection range. So therefore, and also I have ventilation on the tank, and I started out with coated optics and camouflage, but I thought the coated optics wasn't cutting it. It was extending the view range even still, just barely up to the detection range, which, given that I didn't have sixth sense, was made scouting extremely risky. And I like to have the flexibility of being able to scout with the tank as well. If you put binoculars on it, you would obviously extend the view range that bit further, and it can be a fairly effective passive scout with binoculars. If I had a crew with the skills that I needed, so the 4 or 5 skills that I consider kind of be very good for this tank, then you could probably dispense with the binoculars and go with coated optics just to get the maximum view range when you're on the move and when you're on the move and when you are stationary. So Pilsen, this is our bottom tier, and it's still an effective tank at bottom tier. Even if you make a mistake, you can survive it. Not often, like sometimes you will make mistakes. So here is a case where I was committed to the drive-in, and first tank went down, which was bad, but the second tank went down as well, and that was a disaster because I was hoping for the second tank to remain alive long enough for me to dump the clip into the Hellcat, at least, so that I wouldn't get shot at, essentially. But they died too quickly. They died a lot more quickly than I expected. And then this left me in very low hit points. But it is still possible to be effective in this tank. So I was thinking, alright, yes, crew skills, yeah, quite important. We demolished that T-67, but we're fairly close to the range limit. There, I mean, you can see that my range limit is something similar to my view range. 500-600 meters maximum, 500 meters probably. You mightn't even be worth your while shooting anything beyond that. The 5cm gun has worse standard penetration than the 3cm gun, but it has better premium ammunition penetration, and it does a bit more damage. So I think it's the kind of gun, if your preferred mode of play with light tanks is to sort of hide behind bushes and snipe, then the 5cm gun might be a better option. But I will test it out in the next week or so and see how it compares, and see how it is in the fun factor as well. Is the tank the cutest? I don't know. I've never been entirely convinced that it's the cutest tank, but it's very Germanic. I think it's kind of the essence of World War II German tank aesthetic in one tiny little lethal bundle. It has the profile, the classic German Panzer profile that you just associated with the German tank, German tanks in the Second World War era. So you have a slightly flat upper plate at the front of the driver with a kind of sloped glacis underneath it down into the lower front plate. The lower front plate in this one's fairly flat, but obviously in a lot of the other Panzers, the Tiger in particular, for instance, it's sloped. It's not sloped a whole lot. I think it's about maybe 10-20 degrees from the vertical going back towards the floor of the tank. But this thing is, I think it's kind of flat in the front, but it's got this big high engine deck, and a very flat square kind of backside between the tracks. So, but anyway, so it is. It's great fun. Definitely the whole auto-loader thing. Auto-loader is an autocannon at this point. Is actually great fun in this tank. So it is. I don't know what I know the next couple of them are autocannon as well. So I don't know how effective they are, or how much they sort of, how much they what the rest of the line is like. I have the option alright of buying the next one up, but I haven't got around to doing it. I don't really have a crew ready either. I think I'll have to do a bit more work with German crews, because it'll be tier 5 and it's kind of essential. Now I think, to be honest with you, that the crew I have in my Hetzer is actually a more suitable light tank crew than the crew I have on the Panzer II Luchs. So I might keep the crew on the Panzer II Luchs, put the crew on the Hetzer on the successor tank when I buy it. But I've bought a lot of tanks recently, so that will be sort of another day's work. So we've managed to survive this game as bottom tier tank, and actually managed to do a respectable amount of damage. And let's see what the final score here is. Now this was obviously one of the early games from the Needle contract. So we did 570 damage, which is respectable, I think, for a tier 4 tank. 438 assist. We came third by experience, behind 2 tier 6s. So I think that's pretty respectable going. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a like. If you haven't already done so, please give the channel a subscription. I'll catch you all soon. Bye for now.